For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, we are live and amplified. So let's get ready to podcast.
Fire it up.
All right. How's it going, everybody? Tom Quiet here with Live and Amplified. We have our second, let me preface that, our second jam session podcast. This is something that we started back in 2020, and actually our guest here today, Dustin Brown, was one of the guests on the second time we relaunched that program, and we brought him back here because he was traveling through Waco from San Antonio going back home to Dallas. So it was one of those deals. He had an open on his schedule, which it's really rare that you actually have a Friday open. I was kind of shocked that you said, let's do it on a Friday. But really excited to have you here. It's been, I don't think I've seen you since we did the last jam session. I don't think
we've been in contact pretty good, I think, but which that's just the beauty, I guess, of modern day, social medias and stuff like that. It's one of the pros of it. You know, we feel like I haven't missed a beat. But yeah, it's been a couple of years.
It's been a good minute, but that's how it is. We've had you on a few of our podcasts and whatnot, but it's all good. So it's really cool this year because I know in September you have or not September, October. I don't know why I keep saying September. Yeah. But it's October. You have the jam
in a jam
down by the river music festival, which you started during COVID. Was that because of COVID that you started it, or?
Yeah, it actually was in a way, because we have friends that basically a big group of friends of mine that always go to this other festival. It had been rescheduled from, I think they do it in the spring, April. They rescheduled to October. Then obviously COVID just kept going and going and going. But all those folks just have like normal jobs and stuff, and they had moved their vacation for the second time, and they're like, well, we got to use it or lose it kind of thing. And they were joking in a group chat about, let's do our own music festival. And then somebody tagged me in the group chat and said, hey, Dustin Brown can do that. And I was like, I really can, guys. Like, we could get some people. Yeah. And then that's where the name is just kind of funny, in a jam down by the river, like in a van. It was like the whole thing was a joke, really. It's like, we'll do it for 2020 and then never again. And it was small. It's not like we were out being irresponsible, but, and we were outdoor kind of thing. Yeah, but now it's grown into our third year, and it's legit now. So
yeah, it's becoming a very big thing. We were talking about it briefly before we jumped on here about how you're starting to get bands that aren't turning you down. Right. And it's you kind of like, it's not a pickle, it's a good pickle to be in, where you've got too many bands wanting to perform and wanting to come out and support and all that fun stuff. But it's one of those deals where it's like, if you're expecting 20 slots to be filled and you got 50 bands coming down, it's like, that's a bit of an issue.
Yeah. That's what we got. We definitely have a stacked lineup. It's going to be 30-minute acoustic, 45-minute band, 30-minute acoustic, rotating between two stages that are right. It's not like other festivals where you have to walk across. Yeah. They're like pretty much right next to each other.
Yeah. I saw some videos popping up on social media last year, and that was the vibe that I was picking up. Like, it was all very close. It's at a campground. It's in New Braunfels.
Yeah, New Braunfels. Yeah.
I'm still new to Texas. Well, not new. I've been here almost 3 years, but there's some cities in this state that I don't care how long I live here, I'll never get it right. So,
but I always spelt it wrong for a long time until now we're doing it there, and I have to write it all the time, and I'm like, or type it.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, I got it now.
But I'm proud to say I will never get my hair wrong.
No,
like I was the first day I moved down here when I went to work, they gave me a quiz of how to pronounce like a whole bunch of these different cities' names, and Mahia was the only one I got right, and I was just like,
that's probably the hardest one.
Yeah. It was bizarre because it's like, it makes sense. Like, we're in a very Hispanic area.
Right.
So.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly, my gal. We went there not too long ago, actually, and she said, what's Mexia? And I was like, it's Mahia.
Yeah.
But spelled it out, sound it out. That's what it says.
That's funny. But we got you here on the jam session. We're going to have you play a few songs here throughout the next hour or so. And cool. Really excited to hear some of the new stuff. You released some new music here recently.
Yeah. I got a single out right now. It's about a week old, and got one coming out the end of this month, and then the end of next month, and then during the festival, the whole album drops. So
nice. That's cool. That's brilliant marketing.
Well, it just worked out that way. It just worked out like that.
It's like you did it. No, I'm not saying you did it intentionally.
Oh no, we did, but it just also. But if it had been ready 6 months ago, we would have dropped it in the spring, but it wasn't. So it kind of worked out that it took this long. It's like, well, we'll just drop it right in line with the festival. So
fair enough.
Just kind of build all that up.
Fair enough. Let's go ahead and jump into your first song here. What song are you thinking about?
We can, since we're just talking about it, we can just do that single real quick. And I'll play a few off of the upcoming record and stuff, but I got some that are brand spanking new we can play too.
Awesome. Is this a up-tempo song, a little bit softer?
Well, it's funny. It's like a really slow one, sad one to me. And there's actually a YouTube video of it from a long time ago when I very first wrote it, and I really didn't want to play it anymore, you know. And my band that I'm running with now, they in our early days of getting together, they found it on YouTube, and they're like, "Hey man, let's play that song." I was like, "What are you talking about, dude? It's kind of this mopey singer-songwriter song, but if you listen to the single, you'll see that they really kind of churched it up.
Yeah.
Really kind of leaning into the indie rock thing in a way these days with the band, but still a country folk roots kind of thing, you know.
Awesome.
It's called Words. Go ahead and leave me, darling. I can't take no more. Leaving's for the birds now, babe, and I ain't headed north. And I would cry a tear for you, but I am all sold out. And all that I ever wanted was to figure you out. Don't go way by the phone, 'cause I'm already far gone, and leaving all my wrong, like words in these songs. Give to you the world, my girl,
Badass. That was awesome. And that was the new single that just dropped?
Yeah, it's brand new. But with the band, it's got a lot more guitars and heavy drums and stuff. You know, it's funny. I guess if you can imagine a folk singer meeting a bunch of old rock guys, you know, and that the baby that came out of that is what we're kind of doing now. So a lot of washy, big drums on that, and some really cool guitar parts and stuff. You know.
Nice. And how long's that song been in the works? I know you mentioned that you're kind of running with the band now. Were you working on this when you were still doing your solo stuff, or?
No, yeah. I mean, I wrote it years ago, but I said wasn't really thinking about recording it even solo until, you know, these guys were like, hey, let's do that one. But yeah, we really, to be honest with you, it's been like a 2-year project almost, but not because it's like we slaved over it to make it the best it could be. It just was circumstantial, but really was kind of a pain to get it out. But we've already recorded other stuff now, so this is just a taste. You know, these 7 songs is kind of just a taste. It's 1 remaster and then 6 new ones, but we've got 7 more coming. And then I went down to Alabama back in the spring, and I recorded with Jimmy Nutt. Did like a completely acoustic one to like kind of really get back to my roots on some of those songs that need just that.
Yeah.
So lots of music to come out over the next couple of years. It's already the gears are already working on it. So nice. I ain't going anywhere.
That's awesome. I always enjoy listening to your music. I remember when you first came through back in 2020, right before the pandemic hit. I had gotten your name from somebody. I don't remember who it was.
They were probably talking.
I had gotten your name from somebody through the grapevines and invited you out because you were local to Waco.
Yeah, at the time I was living here.
Yeah, you were living here in Waco, and brought you in. We did the original jam session as it used to be, not the live Twitch thing that we're doing now, but just kind of listening to your music back then, because I went back and listened to the episode a couple of weeks ago to this stuff. Your new stuff is just amazing, and I can't wait to hear the rest of it, the full album, and then the coming years with new releases and stuff. It sounds like you're rejuvenated, because back in 2020 you were still working out in the oil fields, right?
Yeah, and I was mechanicing out there, and then I went full time, because my plan when I met you, I think in 2019, I had made the plan to September of 2020, which was like a year from the day I made it. I was like, I'm gonna save up, pay off all my debt, and I'm gonna do music full time, because I was able to make rent, you know, playing music. And the pandemic hit, and then I shouldn't have quit my job, but I got mad at the boss. They fired my good boss and put in this just idiot. And I was like, you know what? This was my plan anyway. Screw y'all. I'm gonna do the plan. And yeah, I made it for like 9 months before I started having to like work again, because I was running multiple open mics. I was playing like 2 or 3 shows a weekend, which before would have been really good money, like for music. And then it just wasn't, man. It was like, man, I'm starting. My voice was blowing out. I was getting really pissy with playing at all, you know, because it was really becoming a job. So that's my warning to anybody going full time. Just be careful.
Yeah.
Sure. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with having your bills paid from like a job, and you know, taking the gigs you really want to take, doing the things you really want to do. Because when you have to take them all, you start hating it a little bit.
Yeah, especially when you find yourself in a position where it's like, oh, I could either like not eat this week or push myself through 4 hours of cover songs at this bar that's going to pay me $400, you know,
right? Exactly.
Because some of those bars that you have to sit there and do like a marathon of cover songs, they pay pretty good, but it's like, at what point are you happy?
Right, and that's exactly where I was at. I definitely ditched covers a long time ago, because also I would lie to a lot of those places. They're like, well, it's a 80, you know. I used to admit, I'd be like, well, I just do all original stuff, you know, and they'd be like, well, we have a 60-40 rule or whatever. And I'm like, then I learned, well, none of them listen to me anyway. Yeah. So when they're like, do you do covers? I'm like, yeah. And then I get up there and play all my own stuff for 3 hours. But, in 3 hours, no one likes to play 3 hours. But when it used to pay good, it was like, all right, that wasn't too bad. But then when they were paying less than half of what we were getting paid before. And I don't even want to get into all the money stuff. But it's just like, man, it was a really eye-opening experience, and everybody would say, well, what would be greater than just playing music all the time? It's like, Well, it is great if you're playing every night to people who, you know, kind of want to see you or like want to see live music in general. But some of the places I was playing, it was like, you know, we turned off the background music and I brought out a guitar and they would almost like, you know, they were angry with you. You're like, oh man. And you do that so many times a week. You're like, get really bitter real quick. So.
Yeah, for sure. And around this time when you wrapped up, or when you were kind of ready to take a hiatus from playing for a bit, is that when you moved out to the like cabin out in the middle of nowhere? I remember we did a podcast. You were sitting out in like the middle of nowhere out in...
Yeah, I actually had COVID when we did that. That's why I went out there. Yeah, I was fortunate enough to, me and some friends at the time, since I did have a job, you know, we were leasing some land that we could like hunt and explore on, you know, so just some farmland from this feller. Nothing like, not a crazy like place, but it did have an old crappy house on it, and is in the middle of nowhere, like middle of nowhere when the sun goes down, like it's creepy, and like the stars would go from horizon. But yeah, I was out there that night, and I stayed out there because this was back in, I was like September of 2020 or something when I got it the first time, and it was, I was terrified. I didn't want to get anybody sick or something like that, but yeah, I went out there and lived out there for the whole 2 weeks, and I don't know, it was fun. It was fun. But
and then I think it was after that, because that was right around the time we were doing something. I don't remember what the hell we were doing. We've done so many crazy things over the last 2.5 years, but and then I think we didn't fall out of touch. You just kind of went and did your own thing during the pandemic, and before I knew it, I was messaging you about the pancreatic cancer fundraiser we did last year, and you're like, well, I'm in Dallas now, and I'm like, yeah, wait, when the hell did you move to Dallas? Like, I'm pretty good about staying out until, like, even if we don't talk that often, I'm still pretty good about being active on social and like seeing what everybody's posting. Right. But then you drop the Dallas bomb on me, and I'm like, oh, okay, fair enough.
So, well, yeah, too. I don't know. I've moved so much over the past few years that I just quit. Like, you know, I don't make a stink about it. I don't post about it. Mm-hmm. You're lucky if I change, like, which this go around I did, but you're lucky if I even change the city where I'm currently living or whatever. Yeah. And I think I did that. I think my profile will say Dallas, but we're actually moving to Fort Worth in December. So, like, that ain't...
Well, I mean, that's not even that big. Like, for me, like, Dallas...
It's DFW, yeah. But none of you ask Fort Worth people, which I actually like Dallas. I really do. I like, they're like, but you talk... No Dallas people ever talk crap about Fort Worth, but every time I'm in Fort Worth and I tell them, they're like, I live in Dallas, they're like, like, what? Are you okay? And I'm like, it's totally fine. Yeah. Like there, you know, like there's like this weird myth in Fort Worth that people in Dallas will just shoot you or something. I'm like, I mean, maybe they'll shoot each other if they're involved in nefarious acts, but like they're not just walking around shooting people, dude. Like,
which is weird because the sketchiest place I've ever been was in Fort Worth.
Yeah, so in Fort Worth, we just brought that. I made the joke. I was at Billy Bob's the other night doing some video work on the side, and I have a.
Some guy he randomly met.
So, right. Yeah. No, yeah, that's what. There's a stretch, which is funny, where it's actually kind of where we're moving. Our little street and neighborhood is pretty cool, but yeah, to get to it, yeah, there's definitely like an area. I mean, we're moving in there. It looks like it's coming up. They're doing a lot of work out there and stuff, but yeah, there's a section where, I mean, it's just it's everything you just said. You know, still to this day, it's like, all right.
Yeah, for sure. Let's jump into another song here.
Oh man,
I know you kind of mentioned wanting to stay in the realm of some of your newer releases, but what are you thinking here?
Thinking my voice ain't too warm, but I'll do this one. So I had a big year this year. You know, I not only moved up to Dallas, but I finally turned 30, and I was like, all right, this is neat. You know, I always thought it would never bug me. I was like, it won't bug me. It kind of bugged me. It's like overnight I gained like 10 pounds and I got bags under my eyes, and everyone's like, you look old, dude. I'm like, thanks, baby. Appreciate it. but yeah, and like maybe you recognized I was kind of on a hiatus for a while. I had a bad run there for a minute. It was just like, I would never quit music all the way, but I was like, I'm done booking and all this. So just kind of kicked back and enjoyed living in a new house that was steady and stuff, and wrote this song. It's called Moving Forward. Well, I hate coming back sad while they beat her on the back, to die in the middle of a storm. I'd hope to see you soon, but not too damn soon. Well, I ain't really got that far. I've been lying on my back with a bottle jack and a stack of blocks where my wheels once was. If I could fix this truck and get out of my rut, only God knows what I'd become. Only God knows what I'd become. Ever left me for long, and often on I've roamed, and I will, I suppose, until I found a home, whether on an overpass or an exit ramp. This life you'll travel mostly alone. Life you'll travel mostly alone. Wait for death to finally come. Can't quite say that you're old, but you ain't young no more. You gotta keep moving forward. That one.
Nice. And this one's not released yet, or is it released?
Not released. No, this one's on that solo record that'll be coming out maybe this time next year or something, or maybe in the spring if I really feel like it. I gotta pay to get it mixed and mastered, finished up, but it's been tracked. And usually it's a little better, but we had a gig last night and drank maybe one or too many whiskeys. But.
Yeah. I got you. It's very fair. It's one of those deals where it's like, I get it. I totally get it. And whiskey's good. I'm all about the whiskey. I thought you were gonna ask for. I bought this Kentucky whiskey a while back, and I just haven't drank it yet because it's.
Oh, I'll take it. I'll always take a sip of whiskey.
It's one of those deals where it's like, I don't like drinking whiskey by myself. It's like for me, it's a very communal thing. But,
Right.
Yeah, so.
We're two different people. No, I'm better these days. I used to, man. I was such a sad kid or something, dude. A lot of people still say I'm sad, but yeah. What they don't get is when I was like 18, 19, I always worked with like older dudes and shit. And sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to say
you're good
bad words, but I would get Jim Beam Black was like, I don't know, I was all obsessed with like, it's got to be Jim Beam Black, and I would sit like by myself like a little sad sack in my I moved down to Austin with a buddy, and he worked nights and I worked in the days, so it was really kind of like, we had our apartment to ourselves during the week, but he would be working nights. I'd get off work and come home and just sit and drink whiskey, and like, because I had it in my head when you're younger, like, especially being a songwriter, you're like, I gotta drink this whiskey and do all these different things to like learn what it is to be, and it's not really the case. You don't gotta destroy yourself to find the lyrics, Yeah,
I got you. Sorry, I'm having a little camera issue here, and that's all. Let's see, is it overheating? But
they always act up, them GoPros.
It's one of those deals where it's just like I put up the GoPro because I never have an issue with it, and then shut it down, and reboot it, and luckily we still got audio, so they can just hear me fuck with this. But so you're running with a band nowadays. How long have you guys been playing together?
That's another one of them COVID things. We got together. I think we started jamming together around November of 2019. With a really solid group, because I had a bass player approach me after seeing me in a songwriter competition, say, hey, if you ever need a bass player, like, I'm down. And I told him, like, man, I just don't run with a band anymore. It's too much of a pain. He's like, oh man, you should have a band, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, the only reason I'd get a band is if a whole band fell in my lap tomorrow. And he said, give me 2 days. And he called me back, or he said 3 days, and he called me back in 2 days. He said, all right, I got you a whole band. And it was basically the guys he was playing with. They were ready to move on to a different project. And they all came on board, and we were all, I think, like, obviously everybody's saying stuff like this, so my story isn't special. But if COVID wouldn't have happened, we probably would have ran with that group pretty well. Because we they had to learn all my songs, and we had a whole month booked. And we're like, all right, this is the start of something new and fresh. And then, COVID happened, so we picked that group apart, and it came down to me and Tyler Ralston, my guitar player, where he was the last one of that original group. And he finally he stepped out on us too after recording this. He'll still play some shows with us, but wanted to move on. So now, I got just kind of a ragtag group of guys. Whoever comes in when necessary and needed, they come in. I got so Ghost Dance Band. A lot of their members, they kind of step in with me. We're gonna be playing. Christopher Smith. He's been playing drums with me since even helped me out on some other projects, and we all go way back. But we got a show on the 20th at Bare Bones right over here in Gatesville, down the road for opening for Grant Gilbert. I'm not really familiar with the music, but he's got a following, so I guess it should be a good one. But Chris always rolls with me when he's available, but the other guys that I had weren't available, so I ended up I think we're gonna have half the Ghost Dance Band playing with me. We got James on bass. We're gonna have Will, I think, step in too, and then Wes Perryman. He's a songwriter out of Moody. We're both, it's kind of funny. We're both from Moody over there. We've been kicking it around for a long time, talking about getting together and playing or doing something. And so I hit him up, and I think he's going to sit in with us too on the 20th. So nice. Might be the birth of a whole new thing,
Hey, that's the cool thing about bands, though. It's like you just start jamming with people. Like, obviously, in a scene like Central Texas, you're up in Dallas, though, and that's where Ghost Dance Band's out of, right?
Well, they're both Waco and Dallas, but now I think it's funny. Half of them lived up there and half of them lived down here, and then Cody Dollins, lead singer, he moves up there, And then Will, he moved back down here. So it's like they trade like almost in the same this past year. So the one went up and the other one came down. So now they're still, I think they got 3 down there, 3 down here, and 2 up there. So
hey, that's all that matters, right?
Right. They make it work. Yeah.
And I mean, it's not like Dallas is that far away, but you know, it's interesting.
Everything, you know, the distance. If you're just used to driving in Texas, it's whatever. But now the big thing is the cost of it. You know, it's like used to running down up there and back or down here and back $50. Now in a van or a truck, it's like $75 or $100.
Oh yeah, I ran into that issue going out to Memphis. I was just like,
oh, it's miserable. You probably spent $500 round trip.
It wasn't that bad. I spent $300.
Yeah.
It really wasn't. Where it got me was over at Christmas. I drove up to Chicago, and that was a price to pay.
Right,
Let me just say that.
And they probably spike it up a little bit too, being holiday and everything.
Oh yeah. It was. I think I was paying on average like $4.95 or something.
God.
Luckily, I drive a little Kia Sportage, so I'm doing like 30 to a gallon, but still, when you're driving to Chicago, 30 a gallon ain't really gonna do much for you. So
no. Yeah, that's what we were talking about a second ago. My van that you know I've spent. I wanted a van so bad for so many years because when I was a little younger, you know, it didn't matter where I went to play. I was getting drunk and having a good time and like sleeping in the car. I was like, God, if I only had this van, I'd solve all my problems. And then I keep kind of laughing about it. It's like, well, now I finally have a van that I've decked out and all that, and I'm to the point in my life where it's like, I don't really want to black out tonight at this little dumb show. And on top of that, now, like, we're finally got it. Last summer, we ran it pretty much all summer, driving around, using it for stuff and using it for gigs, and it is wonderful. Yeah. But yeah, now it's killing us. It's diesel. It's diesel. It's dually, but it's like it does get like 20 something. It's like a Mercedes, the older ones. Yeah. So it's not as bad as like a pickup, or a van. Like a an old Dodge van or something. Yeah. But yeah, man, it sucks to fill it up. There for a minute, I couldn't fill it up because my card would stop at 130. Yeah. And it was like a 3/4 tank was $130. It's crazy.
But I mean, luckily here in Texas, gas is already.
Yeah, we're not doing too bad. Yeah, it's not awful now. But there for a minute, I was like, "Ooh, this is tough." Dude. And then like we talked about, you go to play a gig where it's not that great of a gig. Yep. And they're like, "We're going to give you a couple dollars." You're like, "It's like, man, I'm in the red halfway down here, like I'm not even to the gig yet and I'm in the red." Yeah,
it's just one of those deals where it's like, we gotta kind of figure this one out because and it kind of kills the independent touring aspect of things where musicians that want to get out and tour and it's going to cost them $300 or whatever to get to the next gig because they're a full band when they got a trailer and all that shit.
This van getting 8 miles a gallon because the trailer's on the back of it.
Yep. I just don't know how bands do it anymore. But I guess like the merch table, merch table is from what I hear. I'm not in a band. I'm not a musician. None of that stuff. But
yeah, if you do your merch right, I mean, I've definitely made some decent money off my stuff. But it's also one of those things like it's not guaranteed. It's You'll have a show, and it's funny. People are like, people are definitely sheeple. Like, if one person will come over and buy a shirt, 6 people will come buy a shirt. It's the craziest thing. So honestly, I just re-upped on my merch. I'm gonna be getting into a bunch of new stuff for this album release. Mm-hmm. That's what I need to do. I need to hire one of my friends to like, hey man, like I'm just gonna give you the shirt. Or actually, anybody listening, if you want to come to my show ahead of time, any show I'm putting on, and you come up, we'll make a deal ahead of time. You got to get up and make a scene and come pick up the shirt, hold it up, make it, it's so funny because when people see that, they really do come over and buy it. But if you go over there and not one person comes up, then they're all like, well, I'm not going to be the first one. And it's a whole thing.
It is. It really is. And it's like, I mean, I think it comes down to like where you're at as well. Cause
that too. Yeah.
I know going out, I keep bringing up New Mexico like this, but like you go to a show out there, and I've seen bands clear $1,000 at the merch table just because, like you. So I'm going, or Slava's coming into town on Tuesday. I'm gonna go check that show out just because it's $20. Like can't go wrong with that.
Gotta do that.
And I guarantee you, a band like Slava is gonna clear $1,500, $2,000 in merch.
Right.
Just because bands like that don't come through New Mexico. Mm-hmm. And everybody's going to want the new album or new shirt or whatever, you know. So
yeah, and having good merch, definitely. I'm sure this is boring somebody if they're listening, but if we'll make it educational too. Like definitely put some time in your merch. I did some shirts. My OG shirts sold like crazy, and then somebody's like, they just had the DB, like my logo on it, and then somebody's like, man, you got to do a shirt that has your name, like so people know who you are. Which my original, the DB logo was like, you know, really that'll engage somebody to go, what is that? And then you talk about it opposed to just saying it. But anyway, I'd let them talk me into it, and I did this second round of shirts that said Dustin Brown, like in this really bad cursive, like straight off of like, it just was the worst shirt ever, man. And like I had to damn near give them away, and then.
Looking on your website, I was like, because I was going to ask you if you had any shirts, and I was looking on your website, and you didn't have any. I was just like,
everything's sold out, and I have not replenished because
that's just a good issue to have, though.
Well, it sold out. Well, actually, it's more complex than that. I was doing really good keeping up with merch, and then with you're just speaking to the band. When I got with them, I was just Dustin Brown, and then there for a while we were going under. I haven't been saying this. I guess this is probably the first interview I'm like saying it. But yeah, like we were going under Dustin Brown the Now, and then when everything it was like I really wanted to push that, like okay, we got a thing. But then when that kind of fell off, the radar, and like the last guy kind of like, and he was part of that too, because I told him, hey man, like I just need to. It's not like a personal thing like that. Like we've got to release under this name or that name because it all matters on the streams and stuff. When we got down to brass tacks, it was just like, just keep releasing under your name. It's like, okay, so then we're going to go by that. But that's why I kind of held off, because I was going to do merch with our album artwork, and then like Dustin Brown the Now or whatever, and finish the album artwork. Because like, what are we going to put on it? So once that's all been decided, literally just in the past like 2 or 3 months. Yeah. But everything's going to remain under Dustin Brown, and yeah, the shirts that are coming are going to be the album artwork, which a few people have seen it, and if you go like follow the hyperlink for the download, you'll see it too. But it's like we did it looks like an 80s hair metal band like album cover. Everyone's floating around in different trippy colors and stuff, and there's like lightning bolts in the back. We were being funny with it, really, just like, hey, this is funny, and everyone was like, we love that, because we made stickers. Yeah. And so it ended up being the album artwork, and we're going to put it on a T-shirt.
Nice.
Have all that cool stuff.
That's funny. It's always interesting. It's the like the artwork that you think isn't going to do anything, and it becomes like your bestseller. And it's like my buddy's band. It's literally just the state of New Mexico with headphones around it, and that's their T-shirt. And it looks like they made it in clip art. And they just can't keep it in stock. Like they go through so many. Like I mean, they don't print a whole lot of it, but like every time they get a new batch, it's like a run on them, and it's like, wow, that's very funny. And they came out with the second shirt that they paid a guy like a whole bunch of money to like design and put a lot of thought and emphasis into it, and nobody wants to buy it. Yeah, like that's very funny. So
well, yeah, it's almost like. Yeah, it's those things, because like on this one, I was actually bored, and because I used Canva to like edit stuff, and they got a bunch of new features at that time, and they had background remover. I was just playing with it. I was like, well, that's cool. I can remove the background. It's like a cutout image, so it's kind of like collaging, And I was just playing with it, having fun. I was like, ooh, I put some lightning bolts in there, and then I changed everybody's like colors and their hues, and then I sent it to the guys like, we'll use this for our next promo, and they're like, dude, make it into a sticker, and I did a sticker, and then everybody at the show is like, they love it, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess it'll. So yeah, it started as a joke, really, and they're like, "That's cool." So
yeah, for sure.
So follow your heart on stuff like that. But yeah, sometimes when we try too hard to be cool, or try too hard to be serious, or try to be funny, that's when you fail the most. When you just be funny or be serious or whatever it is, like it comes across. We were just, me and Cody Dons, I'll mention him again. We were just talking about that, like, it's genuine people and things definitely come off more than anything else. You can try to look cool, you can try to play a part, but like. Being yourself, whoever that is, really does make a difference. Like you see that all the time. It's like, anyway.
Yeah, for sure. Let's do another song here. We've got about 20 minutes left or so, and let's have you do another song, and we'll chat a little bit more and play one last song, and that'll kind of be it for us. So,
okay. I'll do this tune. It's going to come out when the album drops. It's not going to be one of the singles. We made speaking of that funny stuff, we made a really funny kind of BS music video for it. By myself, it's going to be really repetitive. But with the band, got a spaghetti western kind of tune to it. It's just like this fun one.
Nice.
And that's what we called it. We called it the Best Spaghetti Western, like the hotel Best Western. Maybe they'll give us a sponsor one day or something.
Maybe.
Stoplight between me and the edge of this town. Been on the run with the fuzz hot on my tail. Lightning strike, white teeth, the dogs, they foam at the mouth. Shrill scream will leave my lips if they got me down. Thinking of her smile while I'm barrel ahead. That Monte Carlo slow now, but still bearer says, do I end up like my dad or just dead? A cherry glow in my eye from a cigarette, and I wonder if the devil's ever gonna forgive the sins of my grampy and my pappy and my kid. Come time to pay the piper with accrued interest. The souls of my family to pay off the debt. If I could only make my plea, I know they'd understand that Sheriff A's a breathing heart, pistol in his hand, and heavy was the door and the battering ram. No time to talk, no time to walk, so I just ran. Maybe she'll explain that it was not me. Well, that shiny little nickel plate 38. Drop all the charges, set the record straight. Sirens a cry in the ears they penetrate. And I wonder if the devil's ever gonna forgive the sins of my grampy and my pappy and my kid. Come time to pay the piper with accrued interest. The souls of my family to pay off the debt. Sliding through the median roadblock ahead, crashed into the guardrail, racing through my head. Were the words of my baby and the last thing said. They don't take trash alive, we only wind up dead. I opened up the glove box and there it lay, cold as a midnight 45. I racked one back in my right hand and held that barrel close to my chin.
So, you got this new album coming out here in October. Right? Yeah, October.
October, yeah.
I was sitting here, I was like, I don't even know what month it is anymore. Like,
dude, it all bleeds together.
Tuesday, kids are going back to school. I don't even got kids, but it's like, where'd the summer go?
Dude, that's what, we actually just learned that. We stopped and tried to swim at Hokanoke, whatever, something over there near Land Passes, something Springs, but they got this really cool pool, like man-made limestone bottom pool, but it's, fed by the spring.
Yeah.
And there was like no one there to like let us in. The hours that we were there within hours, and then we went and talked to the golf people over there, and they're like, "Oh yeah, like most of the lifeguards over there are like high schoolers." And we started back to school Monday. I went, "What?" It's like it's still hot.
Yeah,
I thought school started in the fall. Like I don't know. I guess my perceptions are just at least October, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it was just one of those deals where it's like, I went to Target one day and I saw all the school shit out, and I'm like, wait, it's still the summer. Like, summer just started. What's all? And I looked at my phone. And I'm like, oh damn, it's the end of July. And then, because I remember when I was a kid, like we started like the week before Labor Day. And
oh man,
that was it. Like that's when we got started. And I don't know. I guess Texas is different.
Yeah,
so.
I don't know, man. It's weird. I don't. It seems early to me, but I don't know.
Yeah. So, let's talk a little bit more about the Inner Jam down by the river, which is a really cool festival. We'll actually be at it this year. I know you invited us out last year, but that was right around the time that my mom was sick, and you know I was dealing with all that stuff, and
and it was super last minute. I put it on y'all. I put it on everybody super last minute last year.
Was it one of those deals where you weren't really planning on doing it, or?
Yeah. So, the first one was slapped together in like a month because that's just when the idea sprouted, and then the next year, just like you said, going like in your deal. We went through some stuff in my family right at the beginning of the year. It kind of floored, and I, like everything else going on, just even with me, like just it floored me a little bit. And I was like, man, I just don't want to. I don't care, you know. And no one cares. I don't care. Whatever, you know. Self-loathing in its purest form. Yeah. But and then a few months before the festival time, everyone started hitting me up like, "Hey, are you gonna do it? Are you gonna do it?" Like they're all excited, and that's what I needed. I really did. Because sometimes, I mean, you know, you can believe in yourself all the time, you know, but there comes a point like no one else is believing in you. It's really hard to keep believing in yourself. So, sure. But yeah, some people reached out like, man, it was great. Let's do it again. And we cranked it up, and then we moved it to a better. It's still at the same location. Mm-hmm. We moved it like down, actually near the river and under the shade. And everyone was like blown away. They were like, it was just night and day different. And then I really was like, we'll just do it this one more time. Yeah. But during it, multiple people came up and gave me the old like shoulder, like people that I look up to and stuff like that. And my peers just gave me the shoulder grab, like this is gonna be something one day. And it's like, all right, let's keep doing it. Yeah. And now this year we actually got ahead of the ball. We got the Damn Quails headlining. Yeah. We got. I mean, I think there's like 30 people playing too over 3 days.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be insane.
Or more. It's gonna be just music. And we're gonna do. We just decided on Thursday. If anybody is interested in coming to it, and you want to get there early, which there's music Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. Mm-hmm. But Thursday during the day, we're going to actually do a river float.
Nice.
Since we are at the river, and the campground that we're at does supply tubes. Yeah. And we're going to, I've decided we're going to kind of make it like a tradition, whether it's hot or cold. 'Cause it's October in Texas. It could be cold, it could be hot, but no matter what, we're going to like make this annual float on Thursdays, like during the day. And then the music cracks off at like 8:00 Thursday night, and it doesn't stop for pretty much for 2 more days.
That's what's up. Yeah, I got so Jeff Cabana, who's my sound engineer and like co-founder, partner person in this whole deal. I don't know the semantics of everything yet, or the specifics of everything, but I think I'm going to go out to New Mexico, pick him up, because I know they've got their own situation going on out there. But I think I'm going to go out there, pick him up, drive down to San Antonio. So it's going to be a lot of miles in the car that weekend, but that's all right. I don't think we were planning on being there Thursday, just because I know he's got to work. He works at a recycling bin, or a recycling plant. So I think we were planning on being there Friday morning, and just
perfect.
Yeah. So for people that have never been to this festival, it's a little bit. It's also playing during Dripping Springs. You're doing it during Dripping Springs this year. Is that?
There's a few different festivals going on at the very same time. There's like Utopia Fest. There's I think ACL is right around that same time. There's quite a few things. It's a good time of year. So there's a lot of festivals, but what our slogan's kind of becoming, it's like well, you can go pay a grand to see bands that you already have heard a million times, or you can pay just like $150 for a whole weekend and come hear all these crazy bands that like you've never heard before. Yeah. And discover something. And it's just, we're small, and it's chill. It's super relaxed. It's super beautiful at camping. This year, don't hold me to this because I haven't spoke with the people myself, but we're supposed to have it's a chili cook-off or a barbecue cook-off. Nice. They would need the park around the same time, and they asked to do it during us. So like, bring it on. So we should have that going on. And then I just talked to a fella right out of Waco, actually, Jason Earhart, puts on car shows, and he's like, yeah, we could do a car show down. I'm like, bring it on, dude. So that's in the talks right now. But we might end up, if everything goes right, we might end up on Saturday with a chili cook-off, car show, and music festival all in the same place. Nice. And it's get on, if you look up In a Jam down by the river, we're on Instagram, Facebook, and if you Google it, I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't necessarily pop up because we don't pay to be on the rankings. But if you go to Microsoft, you go to Bing, go to any other search engine, we seem to be the first thing that pops up because it's a very unique name, But Google's kind of giving us some problems. But
Google,
anyway,
that's how Google is.
We ain't paying the masters, so they're not putting us on the search.
I think the only reason that we get as much love on Google as we do is because we got the Wix website, and they've got a back end, like certain percentage of it goes to the Google SEO, and it's like, all right, here we are.
Right.
No, that's really cool. I'm really excited for this to be my first time coming to the festival. It'll be my first festival in two and a half years. Yeah.
Well, we're happy to bring you back in, man.
Yeah, it's one of those deals where we used to go to a few festivals every year. It was like our big thing.
Right.
We'd plan big trips around festivals and whatnot, just because festivals are the easiest place to meet bands.
And they're all there, yeah. You can sit in one spot and let them just filter through.
Yeah, for sure. And, I don't know 100%. Hopefully next week I'll sit down and chat with Jeff, and we'll kind of figure out what we want to do at the festival, because there's so many opportunities. Like the podcast, that's the layup. Like, we could literally sit there for 3 days and just run through every band there. Like, that's the easy layup. But,
or you could do another break the record for longest podcast. Yeah. Just do it ongoing. Y'all take shifts for 3 days straight.
Actually, that's low key something that we've wanted to do, and like we've been trying to get Guinness. Like it's not hard to get Guinness to approve like the attempt,
right.
But it's hard to get them to approve. Like once you get to the attempt, like everything you got to do, you got to have people that are like monitors, and they rotate out every 2 hours. In a marathon like that, you're looking at like 20 some odd monitors that and I'm just sitting there, I'm like, I'd have to hire somebody just
money, yeah.
I'd have to hire somebody just to handle the logistics behind it, but maybe that might be an option. But I also do like the idea of doing something like this with some of the younger bands that are maybe coming in and doing like shorter, like I'm assuming you could tell me if I'm wrong, but like some of the more headlines are doing longer sets, and then some of the younger bands are doing shorter sets.
Right.
Maybe bring them on, do something like this, and then I know I'd thrown out an idea at you about doing the Kill Tony style podcast where we do and that's still something we want to do. So maybe we just kind of
we could definitely do it there, because I'm gonna have y'all set up, and when you get to the grounds, they have like their bar area it's kind of our green room too, because the stage is off the back of it. Well, actually this year our stage is gonna be down on the ground, but there's a deck that comes off it, which is kind of like our VIP artist hangout area. But yeah, we're gonna have you guys right in the load in area / green room, and like and yeah, we almost could put some mics up in there and like have that, so the people that want to get out and go in the AC, like they're in there grabbing a drink or anything like that, which is BYOB, but they also serve some drinks there as well. But yeah, that could be, or we could do that like during the day when it's hot, because we go in there and turn the AC on and kind of do like that.
There's definitely some possibilities, and luckily it's mid-August and we still got a few months.
Yeah, we got some time.
We got some time to figure it out, like the logistics aspect of everything. Like like I said, the podcast is the easy layup. This is pretty simple setup, like even if we have to pre-record and all that stuff. But it's just one of those things where it's a cool opportunity. We miss going to festivals. We've seen some incredible bands nobody's ever heard of at these festivals. Like when I was living out in Florida a few years back, I went to Gasparilla Music Festival, which is it's a big Florida festival down in like the Tampa area, and I met this band. Like there's this band named Flip Turn, really cool band. They at the time they were from St. Augustine, I want to say, I think, or somewhere in that part, like northeast Florida. And they were just a young band trying to do their thing. They got the spot at a pretty decent festival that the infamous String Dusters were headlining, and it was the infamous String Dusters, Gary Clark Jr.
Man, that's cool.
The Roots.
Yeah, dude.
And so it was like it was a pretty decent festival, and
That's
they just
really
got on the bill, and I've been following them ever since, and they just. Man, they're like on a nationwide tour. Like, I mean, as an indie band, but like still a nationwide tour ain't nothing to blink at.
No, and that's all we all hope for, you know.
Yeah,
the
for
very
sure.
minimum.
You know, just getting out there doing their thing. I bought one of their shirts the other day because I've gotten on this kick of trying to support bands, and like, yeah, you can listen to the Spotify and stuff like that, but buying their merch,
that ain't getting them down the road, really.
No.
I mean, it's not doing anything wrong either. It's like the more streams does translate to bigger opportunities and all that for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, that $30 or $20 you spend on a shirt literally is putting fuel in their tank, you know. So then they might break even, you know, if they're lucky.
The only thing is I made the mistake. Well, not the mistake, because they're a band that I really support. There's a band out of Australia, and I bought one. They were doing a thing on Instagram about, oh, hey, we got new shirts or whatever, or we're trying to offload some of our shirts to bring in room for new merch. And I was like, I'll take one, you know, whatever. And I paid more for shipping than I did for the shirt. And I'm like, only because I support you guys.
Dude,
I got this.
Dude.
And I was just sitting there, and it, like, to their credit, it came within like 3 days. So it was like, all right. But,
that's legit, though.
Yeah.
Well, I did that with, you know, I did a vinyl run on my first record, which hindsight was a little bit of a mistake. You know, you should definitely have a bigger following before you do that. And like the 20 people who really wanted them bought them, and then they've just sat still ever since then. But there's a podcast over across the pond way that wanted one, you know, and paid for it on the site.
Yeah.
And I got the order and recognized the name. I was like, "Oh, thanks, man." He's like, "Yeah." And I went to go ship it.
Yeah.
And so the vinyl was like $30. He bought it for, and then I get fees on my collection in too through the website. And then I go to ship it, and it was like, it was like $35-$40.
Yeah.
And I hit him up. I was like, "Hey, man, can you give me like 10 more bucks at least, and it'll be free, basically." You know, like you pay for the shipping. I'm not pocketing anything. He's like, yeah. But yeah, I was like, that sucks, you know.
It's a similar situation. So on our website, we have a back-end fulfillment deal, or it's not a deal, but through Wix, they have like a print-on-demand place. So they order it, they print it, they ship it. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it worked really well. Like, we don't break a whole lot of money off of it. I think maybe like $7 a shirt, but like that's better than nothing.
Oh yeah.
And like we're not moving like mass quantities. We'll sell like one every couple of months, you know, whatever.
Right.
And about a year ago, they had just started shipping or printing in Australia. So it was always the U.S., Canada, North America, and the UK were like their two big hubs. And then they made this big announcement about Australia, and I was like, okay, we're starting to grow out in Australia. So I sent out an email saying, hey, you know, if you've ever wanted our merch, it's available now. I ended up having to pay. I ended up paying $5.
Oh man!
For this guy to buy a shirt, because like Australia's got like a whole bunch of taxes and whatnot, and I'm craziness. Like, yo, Wix, help me out here. What do I gotta do? Like, how do I set this up? But you know, it's just one of those deals. We're boring people with merch again, but you know, it is what it is. Oh,
you never. No, I don't know. Like these things aren't. Yeah, there's some people out there that might be tuning in to like learn a thing or two like that. You know?
Yeah.
So, like I know I definitely that when you first get into anything like this, you're just like, what? How does all this work? And I still don't understand how any of it works. But yeah, the longer you do things, you learn more and more. So.
Yeah. So I know you'd mentioned that you're kind of in the middle of a little bit of a run right now as far as your schedule and whatnot goes. But what are you kind of doing playing wise? I know you had a show last night. You got a show tomorrow night.
Yeah, tomorrow night, Fred's with Billy Hartman in Fort Worth.
Mm-hmm.
Billy Hartman's great. I need to send him your way for one of these. He's killer, man. He's killer.
I've heard the name. I've seen him around, and it's just one of those things where you get influx, especially once you started breaking into Austin. Now it's just like, oh crap, here we go. And like Nashville's that way already. Like let's say throughout a month, we do 15 podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Like 8 of them will be from Nashville, which I mean makes sense. But
yeah, I'll get you in contact. He's just like a songwriter.
Yeah.
He's really good. But him and I are gonna just do a little song swap there at Fred's, and yeah, and then like I said, we just picked up. I was gonna play Southside Tavern over in Goldthwaite, which is a really cool spot for anybody trying to like do acoustic sets. They really treat you well. They're really good. But it also, after I accepted that, we got this offer for Bare Bones. It's a full band deal, and once again, to their credit, he's so cool. He's like, yeah, just get somebody to replace you, and lo and behold, Billy's available. So Billy will be at Goldthwaite at Southside Tavern on the 20th, but I will be at Bare Bones full band opening for Grant Gilbert. So. Yeah.
That's what's
and there's some other things on the books, but kind of what that hiatus I was telling you about, what that really equates to was, I was just figuring out, you don't have to take everything, you don't have to say yes, especially now that we're not like, we're not even breaking even a lot of these times, so it's like we're only taking the stuff. I want to take the stuff I want to do, and then like full band stuff, it's got to make sense logistically and all that. So there's but I just sent out a big blast. I just did probably like a 50 or 60 email blast over the past week, to venues, which I haven't done. Yeah. Because if you remember when you met me, like I was booking all the time, but I needed this break. But we're back into it now, so expect some shows. We'll probably pick up a few for the remainder of the year, but everything's most of these venues are booked out. That's how they do it. So I'm really kind of putting together a good run for like the spring, and we want to get back out there and make like. Maybe we'll do like a month or two of like really hitting it hard, and then when it gets nice and extremely hot again, we'll be like, okay, we're chilling. We're like,
we're going north. We're going further north.
Do a Colorado run or New Mexico even. Yeah. Because that's the thing. I work out there still. Like I do subcontracting. I go out to New Mexico. It's like South New Mexico, but like West Texas stuff. And
so you're out in like Carlsbad. And
exactly Carlsbad. But it it sucks in the daytime. But man, the sun goes down, and you're like, this is great. We're here. The sun goes down. It almost gets worse. It gets all muggy.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll go up north and south, northwest and stuff for the midsummer. But right now, I've hit up every major cool spot in Texas. Yeah. But you send 60 emails, you get about 6 gigs. So we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. It's gotten to the point now where I'm trying to just build, because I get asked all the time, like especially being here in Waco, and a lot of people traveling through, whether they're coming from Dallas, going to Austin, like whatever the trip is, and they're like, "Hey, I got like an open day coming through Waco. You got any venue recommendations?" And it's like, I mean, the only place that I've been to with any kind of consistent regularity is Lakeside Tavern over here, and sometimes they have bands, sometimes they don't. It just kind of depends.
And then the crowd there can sometimes show up and sometimes don't.
Yeah, and it's just one of those deals that it's like I started asking other people, like, "Yo, what venues do you guys play out here?" And then like I've been building this list, and
that's good, man. That's good.
I've found actually there's this really cool spot. I think they're out in Alabama, maybe. There's a spot. Like, they just have a sign-up sheet. They're like, hey, send us your music. We'll tell you what night we could fit you. Or you give us, like, a few dates that you're going to be around. We'll fit you in somewhere. It's one of those deals. And I think they just kind of do a vetting process of making sure, this is an actual band. They're not just, like, some schmucks that are not doing nothing.
And, man, it should be like that, man. It really... Because for both parties. Because, like you said, I feel bad. I mean, especially now... It's cool running the festival. A lot of my views on certain things like that have changed, but I can only imagine like their email gets leaked out, and then there's 100 of us, 1,000 of us in a month hitting them up. Yeah, and you can't deal with that kind of volume, And is there some gold in that pile? Sure, there's a lot of junk in that pile too. So I mean that'd be great if there was a legit, which I just had a dealing with a really shitty one that pretended to be that very thing and we're not, and actually took money from
well, that goes to that whole
I don't want to slander anybody, but
that goes to that whole pay to play thing. And
this was just more like they were false advertising what their capabilities were. It's totally BS. But anyway, there should just be a basic, which I guess that's what the Texas Music Office I think is what they're called. That's kind of what they're putting together. And like Salado, I just made it onto Salado got put on the official music town of Texas, and then they hit me up. I'm on their registry, so that's kind of what that is, I guess. But if you can, and that's for us, and so the venues can go for Salado, which is only like for now it's only like 4 or 5 places, but they can go there and go, these are our vetted artists. But there needs to be a thing for all of Texas, so the good artists can get on it, and then venues can also know, like, if I go to that list, they're going to be good, and then if you're good enough, you get on the list, and And that just would make everybody's life so much easier. You know?
We've been slow, and I want to preface slowly building a kind of a all-around database, and the hope is to turn it into like a app or something one day where it's like let's say you're out on a tour and you have a cancellation in what's a state you've never been in.
Utah. I
Okay,
haven't played in Utah. I've been there, but not played it.
You're driving through Utah and your gig cancels, and it's like, shit, I need to fill this gig tonight. You pull out your app. Oh, hey, Billy Bob's in Salt Lake needs a solo acoustic gig.
Like the Uber of like gigs and music, which I think they do have something like that for pickup artists too. You can put like a post out, which then you go to Facebook and there's all the groups, and like, God, those things are like, they're a great tool, but like Facebook, I don't think they push them. So like you'll post in them, they have thousands of members and you'll post in it, but like no one's seeing it unless they purposely go to the group, but there needs to be an app. You're like guitar player, Waco, Texas, 7 p.m. on July, whatever. And like, then they can answer to your ad or they show available, just like on Uber, like little cars. I'm sure somebody's either developing it or maybe there's already been something out there, but knowing musicians, we suck at like growing things. We're too damn lazy. Man.
I feel that. But yeah, let's play one more song here. Cause I know you said that your ride was coming to pick you up here at some point.
Yeah. My gal should be here pretty soon. I'll do another new one. You know what? I'll do that one. This one is actually coming out on the second batch of full band stuff. I write a few different ways. One of those ways that usually just falls out, and that's always nice. Other times, I come up with a lyric and then put, a riff to it, or I find a riff and then put lyrics to it. But every now and then I have a concept, and this one is kind of one of those. I got to thinking one day because I stopped at a little grocery store and they gave me, brown paper sacks instead of like plastic or reusable. And I just kind of was thinking about all the things that get delivered in brown paper sacks, and it gave me the idea for this song. And it's called Brown Paper Sack. It'll be coming out here real soon. You say we're tall, wait for a bite to eat. Can I help you? We got them impulse items, ribbed condoms, cigarettes. Have you tried them? Cheese, macaroni, and that holy bologna with a little red rain, and for free. Now you can leave with a brown paper sack. Say life's been hard, got a broke down car and a mortgage. We got them itty bitty bottles or a handle and a pint for your pocket. 12, 16, 24, flat top, 15. If you need land for free, now you can leave with a brown paper sack. And if you wanna escape for the day, I'll be in the alley. We got them uppers and downers over the counters and bars. Eighth or an ounce, how about a dime of old dirt, weed, and fall for hay? Now you can leave with a brown paper sack.
Awesome. Really dig that song.
Yeah, it's a fun one with the band. A little limited what I can do with it right now, but yeah, with the band, that one's it's really quirky and fun. You know,
I feel that.
Really trash can punk kind of sound and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So this is coming out on the full band album.
So we've got the 7 coming out in October, and then so it was going to be a big full album, but in the day of streaming and short attention spans, we cut it down to 2 7-song albums, because it's still technically an album, I guess, at 7.
Fair.
So yeah, that one will be on the second wave. So maybe this spring, I might drop a few really sad solo songs that I did with that other batch over the winter, but then this spring probably drop that out. Do the same thing we're doing now, a couple singles, and the album come out by March or something.
Nice.
Or April, May, something.
Nice. And then just kind of continuing touring around Texas, doing that whole deal.
Yeah. I mean, trying to, if there's anyone out there that wants to help out, we definitely need the help. Trying to just get it up to the next level. But yeah, for the most part, stick around Texas, till we can get back to what we were before financially,
Yeah.
Or if it's a good opportunity, we can get we'll go in the red if we can go have a real solid opportunity. But a lot of these times, these exposure opportunity shows, you get there and you drove to like Arkansas for to open for somebody who's actually smaller than you are. And you're like, oh, okay. Yeah. You just wasted our money.
Yeah. For sure. It's one of those things where during the whole pandemic thing, met a lot of bands, all that stuff. And I've started to realize that some of the bands that I thought were like massive bands in their area, they're just like young upstart bands that just like they can kind of draw a crowd, but not really. Like, not saying that they're not good. I definitely don't want to put that out there, but it's one of those deals where so there was a musician from Nashville that was going out to the UK, and she was on this show called American Songland, where basically they go like 3 artists, they present like an original tune, and the judges are like, oh, I like this song and this song, and then they just the two face off and they kind of go through and commercialize it pretty much and just kind of make it like a commercial song. And so we had a musician that we had on the podcast a while back, and she was on there, and she was going out to the UK, and I was looking at her schedule and I recognized one of the names on there, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And the artist that was out in the UK, I thought was like a really big artist. Like, she was doing tours around Europe, just like all these really big tours. Mm-hmm. And I asked her, I was like, oh, so you got Jess to come out and open for you. That's really cool. She's like, no, I'm opening for her. It's amazing that she's out here. And I'm like, wait, what? What? It's nothing against either musician. They're really good, but it's just like, my perspective is all skewed, I guess. I don't know. So.
Well, no. Well, what I really think it is, man, I keep having this conversation with so many people. And maybe I just think too deeply on things, but I look at the world around me and like the way things get consumed and stuff. And I mean, I honestly think like, music will never die. I mean, music is definitely a guttural, emotional thing. They'll never go away. But like, bands used to tour the high school gymnasiums in the 50s, and like the whole town would go to see this band, because that's how they discovered music and that's how they had a good time. But now you can, and this ain't a knock doors, this is cool, but you can pull up your Spotify or your Apple or whatever, and you can get all that right there, and it kind of devalues the like, oh, why do I go to a show, and then back to the stream thing is like, you and I both know there's streams can be arbitrary, man, because you can either have a legit 100,000 monthly listeners, but nobody comes to your shows because that's just not your demographic. Or there's the people too that like they have all these followers and they have all these streams, and you can pay for bots. Everybody knows it, and it's like so it's super arbitrary. But even besides that, let's stick to the people who are like really doing it and really do have the following. I mean, it's just like I just don't think. I mean, they definitely ain't coming to my shows, but like, I don't know, man. People don't go consume, I think, like they used to, which is something we've been discussing is like, once again, running the festival gives me insight and perspective that I never had before. It's like, I definitely used to be a jackass and like, they should pay us good to come play. And like, no. It's like, well, what are we doing for them? Yeah. I mean, we're bringing them our art and our soul and all that stuff, but if we can't bring bodies in the door, well, we're hurting them too. So it's a two-way street. And but that being said, it's like, okay, well, maybe instead of driving around getting more and more bitter, trying to play shows that nothing's happening at, we'll just look at how it's happening right now. Is people are erupting on streams or on social medias and stuff like that. Then they start touring. You know, I have a couple friends. I have one that was doing it, but just like me, we were literally doing the exact same thing for all this time. And then, but it wasn't at one of his shows that shot him to the roof. Yeah. He posted a Facebook video of him playing his new single from like the album, launched his career. Now he's out there on the real circuit. He's national tour. He's just creeping into the national touring stuff, but like tearing it up across Texas. And this other gal I know, she had pretty much quit kind of playing around. It was like, I'm going to release this bedroom album, and it caught fire. And she's like she's in the top 5 on headlining across the state, you know. Yeah. And it's so funny, just a few years ago, it was like, oh, you know, like, I'm not really trying. And it's like, I see a trend here. It's like we don't have to bang our head against the wall, like doing it really. Yeah, you know, 40, 50 years ago, you had to go out and play 4 nights a week to get noticed. But now, work on your craft, work on your product, and make something that people want to hear, and it will happen, you know, and like, but it's just, I don't know, man. And even when that happens, you might be hot on TikTok or hot on whatever. And you get management. All these people come in and want to play ball with you, but then you go to, you know, Chicago and some cool little like music venue, and 2 people are there, but you have 140,000 monthly listeners. You know, it's like, it's so weird, man. And I know people like that. So it's all changing. It's all different, but it's ultimately like make your music and enjoy doing it. You know.
Yeah, it's like last weekend I worked on an article for the website, or for the Live and Amplified website. I haven't really promoted it yet because it's just been a crazy week, and I was just like, I'll get around to promoting it. But like I wrote down like 6 things that I feel like people need to be doing to get their music out there post pandemic, and one, like, for me, there's still something to be said to just, if you have the ability, like, I'm a little bit older than you. I just realized, for whatever reason, I thought we were about the same age, but I'm a little bit older than you. But, you know, we're both at a point in our lives where if I was a musician, I'm probably not going to go hit the road for 6 months just to try and make it work.
Right.
But you got these kids that are 18 that are solid musicians. They can write a song, they can play a lick, you know, they can do this whole thing. Those are the ones that need to go hit the... Oh, you got a $2,000 saved up? Hit the road and see where it takes you. And if you come back with no money, well, guess what? You just had the best $2,000 vacation in your life.
Vacation, and you learn so much from being out there, man. It really, really is. Like, and there's nothing wrong with touring. You know, really, I had a band in like high school and stuff, and we did it really good around here, and then we had high prospects kind of thing, and we just never, failure to launch kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then I quit for so long, and I really got back into this about 4 years ago. And I've joked that it's like I know too much now. I know it's like I kind of wish I could go back just being like, let's get, like you said, if you're 18, if you're 24, you're still like get out there, just do it. But like, you know, then you get to a point. It's not being bitter. It's just like, it's like aware of some things. You're like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm sleeping in the back of a Honda Civic right now with 3 other dudes, and like, you know, we've been eating cheeseburgers for 5 days straight and drinking whiskey every night, which I did that for many years. And now I just can't do it the same. So but we're trying to build it up and then get the following first. Then didn't have the venues call us kind of thing. Like, hey, you want to come do this? So.
Yeah. I had the realization about back in 2017 that sleeping in the back of the car with 3 dudes just ain't gonna cut it no more. Like, we still go out, we tour, and we bust our ass to get to places. Like, we keep such a tight schedule that we bust our ass to get to places. But nowadays, it's just like, unless there's a hotel in there somewhere, I'm not interested.
Right,
because we did this thing where we followed a punk band around. They were doing it was right around the time that Nevada legalized marijuana, and so they were doing a big old comic book marijuana convention, and they got asked to headline and all this stuff. And it's like, oh, that's cool. That's like a once in a lifetime thing. They asked us like, hey, we want to do like a tour life documentary type deal.
Oh, that'd be
and I was just like, all right, cool. And so we went. First night, we were up in like northern New Mexico. This dude brought us out. It was 4th of July. He was like, yeah, I got this venue in the back, can't pay you anything, but you can play for tips. And it's like, cool.
Right.
So he comes in, they play, and he's like, well, just to save you guys some money, you guys could stay over at my place. And we go in, we all walk in, and we're all just like corralled in his living room. The trippy thing was that his place had just gotten raided by the FBI 3 days earlier, so he had no front door. And we're out in like northern New Mexico, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, all right, what's going on here? And then we walk in. He has no electric, no nothing. He's like, sorry, I'm late on my bills. And I'm like, oh, fuck, is this guy about to ask us to help pay his bills or what, whatever. Like, he's a cool dude. Like, dude was cool, but whatever.
It all checked out, but yeah, that dude, that's that road life stuff though. Yeah, like one night in Kentucky, I played did this little solo run, and this dude was like, came up afterwards like, it's funny, by the way, for everybody who thinks like, oh yeah, you just like, and at the time I was single, like this bachelor musician, you're out there just getting laid every night. It's like, no, and in reality, it's always the drunk dude like, man, you killed it tonight, go party with me. And I was like, I think I told him like, I pulled the skeevy move and was like, I don't have any money, you have to buy the drinks. He's like, that's fine. He's like, and I learned very quickly this guy was like the town drunk, dude.
Yeah.
And we went over this other place, and literally the bartender was like, get out of here. Like, he had that bad a reputation. He's like, oh, they just don't like me here. I'm like, they know exactly who you were. So we ended up in a bowling alley that had a bar.
Yeah.
He's like, trust me, this is the spot. It was not the spot. It's just like the only place that served out. They were the only place that had a liquor license, so they served till 2, but it was a bowling alley.
Yeah.
And it was in Bowling Green, so it was like kind of. Then it was out of school, so there was still some leftover college kids. But like, we ended up with this group, and it wasn't going bad. But this guy got so pissed drunk, and he was like, it was bad, man. I ended up sleeping in the back of my Suburban at the time in Bowling Green, dude. Just
I lived in Bowling Green for 9 months. I know exactly.
Yeah, and it was just, and then I woke up the next day and drove all the way to West Virginia, and was like an hour late for my gig, and it's just like people they're just like, oh man, that's so fun. And it is fun. It is, but it's like, there's a lot of like, it's shitty stuff. It's like when you're doing it out of a car or like something like that. One day when we got a tour bus, that'd be great.
Yeah. And then like, we were up in Arizona, we got chased off the Navajo Indian Reservation. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, yo, we're all like in our 30s and 40s. What the hell are we doing here?
Right.
Like, it was one guy that was trying to get laid from a girl he had met the last time he came through. And he was and come to find out that the girl's boyfriend was at the show, and he was like an abusive alcoholic.
Oh no!
And he was like downing fifths of vodka like it was nothing.
Right.
And I'm like, I saw the shit starting to turn south. I turned to Jeff. I'm like, dude, car's right here. We're leaving.
Yeah, we gotta go.
The band was right behind us because they had their own car, and I was just like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this. And then we ended up in the Walmart parking lot, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing?
Right.
I'm over this shit. So, but yeah, nowadays it's just like anytime we go out, nope, there's got to be a hotel in there somewhere. Like, I don't mind driving through the night every once in a while, but
you need a real shower. You need a real real bed. Yeah,
for sure. But it's been great chatting with you. Great catching up. Hopefully, can't wait to get out there in October. And I never been in South Texas that late, but I'm imagining it's nice weather.
Oh, you're gonna love it. You're gonna be like, oh, Texas is kind of nice. Like, I'm gonna live there one day. Yeah, it's like I would say New Braunfels, San Marcos, that whole little region, Canyon Lake, like, Hill Country. It's beautiful, man.
Yeah,
it's
for
really
sure.
Nice,
it's one of those things where I'm not from here, and I don't know if Texas is the long-term play, but I just had an interesting conversation where it's like, oh, maybe I'll be here for a little bit. So,
right.
Because the plan was always for the longest time to go to Nashville. Nashville made sense. And then I was talking to a few people. They're like, well, Austin makes a lot of sense too. And I'm like,
right.
And I could live within reasonable distance of Austin and, live on the outskirts of Austin. Musicians will drive in 40
easy.
minutes, whatever, So, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
That's the move, man. Stick around.
Yeah, it's the only place where I can go into a store and nobody knows who I am, but it's like, oh, hey, you're like family. Cool.
Yeah,
I dig it. If anybody wants to check you out on social, any of that fun stuff, where's the best place to do it?
It's, so I changed everything recently, but it's Dustin Brown Songs. It actually got easier. It used to be Dust Bro Musical and everything, but Dustin Brown Songs, because there's already a music and there's already a this, that, and the other, because it's a very common name. But Dustin Brown Songs, the website is still www.dustbromusico.com, and that's where the Inner Jam Down the River information is, and the landing page. And if you Google it, it will show up. You might have to scroll down, but if you do it on any other search platform, it'll pop up immediately. Just so you know.
Yeah.
And that's all the stuff, man. And YouTube, Dustin Brown Songs. I got a fresh music video out right now. It's doing really good for that single. So go check that out.
Nice. I definitely will go check that out. It's funny. I didn't realize till right before you got here that you changed everything. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, it's like Dust Bro Musico, where's everything? Yeah. And then I went back and looked at the messages on Instagram there, and I was like, oh, it's different now.
Yeah,
okay,
I know. I got to make things difficult.
Yeah,
and I'll probably change it again a year from now.
It's all good, man. It all plays. But absolutely blast chatting with you. Thank you for hanging out with us and making time to come do this thing. This is a new thing. We're going to try and do it. I'm going to say once a month, but right now it's like every other week, which is a lot better than I thought it would be. So, but yeah, once again, thank you for hanging out with us, and we will catch you all later.
See y'all later, guys.
Yep. Oh, stop.